Hey y'all, it's your girl Brittany. I'm back better with another video. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, like the video, and click the bell to be notified of every time I post. Cause y'all know I post frequently, like baby, every day, very much every day. Probably get like one day off a week, girl. I'm putting in a lot of hours here. But all right, so y'all already know what we doing. Y'all already know what it's here for. We're jumping, skipping, hopping, leaping, doing the Dougie, my Dougie, into this video. And make sure y'all click the link down below to become a Patreon member. All right. Without further ado, we are getting into Greek life. Like, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. No shade, no shade. But the episode was boring. It was boring. Like, the fights is cool. Don't get me wrong. I feel like that's what's holding the show together. The challenges, can be a hit or a miss, and I feel like this one was a big miss for me because I don't know if I'm just not hearing the instructions right when they telling us like how they win. I do wanna know like who's in the lead as far as like the 6 teams. And I guess I just didn't get it. Like, I know they went in trying to get the hostages, aka they captains, but then they started taking each other flags. And then they had to put the captain in a certain room, get the key. It was just a little complex and very boring to me. That at one point I was like, skip, skip. Oh, skip. Cause I was just so bored. I didn't care. Like I didn't care. I'm looking for the Naj incident with Queen D. Like the big one, not the one that was on here this episode. But I'm looking for that. I'm looking for Pootie and all to get into it. I'm looking for all of that, and I was very much disappointed. I'm over Monty and Sayhana and Queen D. I'm very much over all they beef. I'm like boring. I'm going to sleep right now as we speak because I don't care about what none of y'all got going on. Y'all storylines is super boring to me. So I'm gonna let y'all know now. The video most likely is gonna be short because I was bored. But I am going to give some points because it was some things I didn't necessarily care for in the episode. Okay, so we start off with Pootie versus Maul. I definitely believe that Maul took that one. Honestly, Pootie need to keep his shoes on at all times. It's like you always barefoot, but need that. Like you can't keep up because you slipping there. Well, and it's like every time we see you slipping. I do think Pootie can do a good head up, but he just don't never have no shoes on. Like where are your sneakers? You need to go put your sneakers on, your Timberlands, your flip flops, your Crocs, something, because you and these socks is always just gonna have you getting to the floor, and they find hard. I mean, hard. You can like you can hear it almost. I'm like, dang, they find super hard. Like you would think they really had beef for months, years. Like you would think they really had beef. The way they find so hard. I'm like, dang, keep your head up. But I will give that to Maul. Maul tore Pootie up. But I am excited to see what happens next week. I want to see that one, to be honest. I think that's going to be very entertaining. Naj is hilarious. So we move forward to Queen D and Naj. And Naj, the way she described Queen D with the purse, she was like, I just, like, I don't like it. Like, it was like, bitch. Like, very much so. Like a quick, let me uh, pat in the head. So she said, and then her and they just, were like, what's up? They in they squabbling mode, like, let's get it. So Queen D pulled her wig. Let me say this. Naj is beautiful. Like, I think Naj is one of the prettiest women on Now That's TV. She's a beautiful girl in general. Like, scratch the network. She's just beautiful. But what I really need Naj to do is let's number one, get that tattoo removed. That tattoo that looks like a microphone, we need that removed immediately. I need her to go figure it out. They got some ways on TikTok to remove stuff. These men, who've been in jail for a long time, have some ways on how to remove unwanted tattoos, and I think that she needs to follow those steps. That's number one. Number two, when Naj takes her wig off, she don't be looking the same. And I don't know whether it be like the braids, it be, the microphone tattoo or what, but it's like when she take the wig off, it just be a different person. It be like, y'all know, like Shrek, Fiona, when she was human, then she was an ogre. And I'm not necessarily saying that now she's like an ogre, but I'm just saying like it be a whole different person that I feel like I see when her wig off or when her braids like need redoing. Like if her braids look just like fresh, I'd be like, okay, like she still look like herself. But when them braids, had been sitting up there for a while, Naj do not be looking like herself. And Naj is, like I said before, beautiful, bad, like super duper fine. Naj to me, like when she stepped out, like very much hammer hit than a hammerhead. Like she's a hammer hitter, but it's just when the wig come off, we need to work on when it come off. And we gotta get that tattoo removed. A A P. Okay. ASAP. So I'm already know about talking about her. So we move forward. Mind you, they were saying like, I guess if you fight, you going home. So Naj had, hit Queen D with the purse. So Kai was like, well, we're already going home because Naj did what she did. So we're going home. I'm gonna get my lick back from Say Hannah. Literally snuck Say Hannah and still ain't do nothing. Probably got 2 licks in. What a waste of screen time. I don't think Kai was needed for this show. No shade. Like she do good on Young and Reckless. A key on Young and Reckless. But they need to keep her on light shows like that with a more like aesthetic to it, because I do think she goes into the shadows very quickly on shows like this with people with, I ain't gonna say bigger personalities, but more overwhelming personalities. I think a lot of them got to be in the background a lot of times because they showed the same people over and over and over. And I mean, she was one of the people who was getting shown, but it was like an in and out. It wasn't necessarily like full on camera time into your storyline. Like your storyline was in the beginning, and now that it's somewhat coming to a close, your storyline has came back around to the end. But at this point, like you still ain't get your look back. Like for real, you still ain't do nothing in. And you did sneak her to my ain't no sneaking. I ain't sneak. You did. You absolutely snuck her. That girl was looking down at her bags, and by the time she looked up, she was on the ground. So please, you did absolutely snuck her. So then Pootie felt like this was his opportunity to get Maul. Pootie is like, it look, y'all gotta help me. Don't they have like jumping spiders? He give me jumping spider because every time you trying to like, take it out of here, Pootie is just jumping, pum pum, and like Ma was not keeping his head on a swivel whatsoever when it came to Pootie, because Pootie definitely got him on the ground, and Ma went into fight or flight. He could not defend himself right then. And baby, whoever that security was who leaped over Ma and like did the dash on Pootie and had the blast, it's not that deep. Okay. It's not that serious to break it up. It must be your first day. I'm gonna keep an eye on you to see if you're a returner. It gave new. I've never seen that ponytail before. So it gave new. But it wasn't that serious, homeboy. The way you had tackled him and threw him on that ground, I just don't believe it was that serious to do. Taking the job a little too serious, baby. You gonna wear yourself out your first day. So apparently, it's from what I'm seeing with Kai and Ma arguing, a lot of the girls have a problem with Ma, and most likely the men do too. They just not gonna say nothing for real, for real. But it seems like a lot of the women on the show do have a problem with Ma in some form or fashion. So Kai now telling her story to Zoe, and Ma ends up saying, I think y'all need to eliminate all them. Just go and get rid of all them or whatever. And I think they only have like one more day anyway. So, at this point, y'all all need to go home if you ask me, everybody, because it's kind of boring. So he said that Kai was like, no, not everybody. We ain't finna go home, something like that. So he ended up saying that she should have been got her issue off with say Hannah yesterday, and she was like, no, and you need to watch your back when it come to Pootie, because Pootie is always whooping you. And he said, Pootie ain't whooped me, and I ain't never lost a fight in my life. So to me, that's when it started getting serious. Because when I first watched it, I wasn't necessarily watching for the context of it. I was just watching it like he started calling her all at her name and stuff like that. And I was kind of like, oh, I don't like that. But now that I'm watching it over, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing she started taking it more serious in the beginning. She the one who started. She the one who threw out like, you and got beat up. So like, why you talking? Don't speak on me. When I think he was just playing. He like, all y'all need to go home, because in the scene before that, Ivory was doing the same thing with Barbie. Like, they just playing, but two, they don't know each other. And then once again, like I said, it already seemed like a lot of the women just don't like him. Okay, so they keep going. He calling her all out her name. She like, well, if I'm a bee, you a bee. Like, what you talking about? We both bees. He ended up calling her a 304. And that's when she really was like, 304? You gets down below. I know you ain't talking to me. And I feel like I was eating him up. But like, you girl, when you got for real, you should have got for real. All that standing up and all that, him starting to call her out her name, I think it really did set her off, which I understand. I definitely understand. But if you was gonna take that, you should have read him for filth more. I don't think she was prepared to read him for filth. I do believe that she already did not care for him. So when she had to be in a room with him, it was like she had to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like she said, I need to be in a room with Notch. I don't need to be in a room with him. But I think it did take him by surprise when she started bringing in, his truth that he wasn't ready to reveal right then and there. Um, and he and I mean, at some point she was agreeing with him, but I think her mind was trying to like pick up something like, okay, me and him getting into it. What I need to say, because at some points when he was like, "You need to get out," yeah, you do need to be in the room with her. She was like, "Yep, yep, yep." But I do feel like she did a good job as far as taking up for herself. I don't care if it was a low blow. Him calling her all of her name and all that type of stuff. I don't like all that. So if you had to take it there, you had to take it there. Oh well. I don't necessarily care for when people do that, but I let it slide because I just felt like he started talking to her crazy, like calling her all out her name and stuff like that. I do feel like she got serious first, but that's because she didn't necessarily care for him. And I can understand how well she got serious, so he got serious, but I didn't feel like he needed to call her out her name. When he started calling her out her name, I felt like, she felt like she had to go and get him what he needed to get, and she had to go and have him shut up and know not to ever play like he was gonna read her. And yes, he do be giving sassy. He was like, yeah, with them dry tracks. And you should have said, girl, that's when we're gonna talk about it on Patreon, because she should have ate him up, like, because she took it there with the truth, like, she did take it there, but I just didn't appreciate how he was talking to her. I didn't, and it could be because I'm a woman, and I cannot stand when men feel like they could talk to women any type of way, and I definitely understand that she was arguing with him too, but him calling her all at her name and stuff like that, he was trying to degrade her, so she just went under the belt degrading him, like, you can't even live in your truth, like, you better shut up talking to me. And she said she couldn't stand him no way, so that let it be known, that they was not on good terms. And another thing is, what's crazy to me is how Other grown men was in that room, from that security to the camera to Zoe. Nobody said nothing when they were getting into it. Nobody told him to chill out, nothing. And I'm not surprised, but I am surprised because I do be expecting a little more from men, regardless, just in general. I be expecting more. And then sometimes on these shows, I get very disappointed because either the men are very scary, and they really don't want no smoke, or they feel like it's not their problem unless it was their woman or something like that. So I felt like in that moment, production could have protected her a little more. And I get it, like, they cast members, da da da. And I do think that on the slide mall do be apologizing and stuff off camera. Off camera, I do feel like he be apologizing, and he has more of a heart off camera. But he, to me, is like DTB, where he has to put on this character. And, this character that he plays keeps his views up, keep people engaged, because they never know who the character is going to expose next. So to me, like I said before, I just would never want to be around somebody like Maul, or just Maul. I just would never want to be around somebody like him, because the hidden agenda that we as the people know now, because we got up on game, but he just do too much for me. We move on to the next scene, and Queen D is delusional as they come. Honestly, I get so tired of Queen D with her delusion. Talking about, oh, you don't like how I did your friend? Let's just take a moment of silence for her brain cells to come back and register what truly happened. When when did you just tear Monty down? Like, let's be so for real here. On what day was you just eating Monty up? It wasn't today. It wasn't yesterday. It wasn't the day after that. Like, it's not on a day that you was just whooping Monty. Like, let's be so for real. And the people gassing you, I'm tired of them too. Cause like, we need her to come to terms with, she needs to get back out there and practice a little more. I do not need Queen D thinking that she is, an MMA fighter, cause you're not. It's not giving that. Like, you need to take up another hobby, baby, cause this ain't it. Oh, trouble in friendship paradise. So Ivory has basically told her true feelings behind Naj. Now I'm gonna make a separate video about this, but I'm gonna talk about this a little more in this video too. But I'm gonna go into detail about like what Naj said back and all that. Now, this particular confessional is not supposed to be right here. The confessional is supposed to be for a situation that happens later on in this like day or two that they're in. And it's more about Ivory's sister than about Queen D. So Ivory ends up saying that she feels like Naj be picking and choosing. And I just think that's funny because they homegirls. And to me, I don't even feel like the that opinion came from just her sister. I think that she probably been had that opinion. When it came to them doing Young and Reckless together, she probably had that opinion. I do believe that. I really, really do. I think she's been had that opinion, but the opinion came out because her sister was involved. And that opinion probably would have never came out, if the situation didn't occur with her sister. I don't necessarily feel like Naj picks and choose from what I see currently. I do think Naj can pick on people if she wants to, but more so, I feel like Naj is mature to an extent than Ivory. Ivory is very chaotic. She's like a tornado that you have to just wait to, like, unspin itself and stop. in its tracks. But Naj is not like that. Naj, I don't know what to describe her as, but Naj isn't like that. Naj know what she could do. She know that she can get in the field, but Naj don't come in on, oh, I could park you. I don't feel like she leads with that, and Ivory leads with that, and that's the difference between both of them. And I think too, people just have respect for Naj. I think people know that Naj can fight, but they don't come in and like, oh my god, I'm scared of Naj. Like, it's not like that. They don't be scared of her. Like, they actually like want to be cool with her, want to get to know her. Like, she has a personality outside of fighting. I feel like Ivory has taken on her personality is fighting, and people are scared of her, and people really pick and choose when it comes to her. She always choosing, she choosing, she's right on you. But I feel like with Ivory pick and choose, with Ivory, people pick and choose whether or not, like, if I need to play like I'm gonna be her friend, or I'm gonna just keep my distance. And a lot of times people try to keep their distance, or they try to be buddy buddy, all in her face. They don't want to get on her bad side regardless of what she do. Even the boys be scared of her, and that's true. I don't care what nobody say. Them men, some of them men on Greeklife is scared of her, legit. And y'all can pick and choose which ones y'all think I'm talking about. But no, I don't necessarily feel like Naj pick and choose. I think if somebody called Naj, just Naj to the field, Naj go to the field. So I don't believe she pick and choose. And I think when Naj is, we've seen her in the act where she go too far as well. So to me, like, when she wake the beast up, the real beast in her up, is it really take some time to calm her down. But Naj to me don't pick and choose, not in my opinion. So I skipped the whole challenge. Like I told y'all, I was very bored with that. I skipped that whole thing. So the only part I got to is about the ending, when Billy said that they was cheating when it came to Ivory. Ivory was cheating. She was making noises or whatever. So she quit the challenge. So they end up losing because she quit. She ends up saying that Ivory was making noises, and the cameraman or whoever, somebody end up saying that Ivory was making the noises. So she just ends up like forfeiting and basically messing up the other team in a way. But she said that she heard somebody say that, and when she heard somebody say that, she, and I will say this too, because it's just popped in my head. This come on later on in the scene, but she ends up saying it's designed for them to win. It was designed for Ivory to win the game. I believe that. Now, last week I was thinking like Ivory probably wasn't gonna win because all them people that on her team then took off. But I did believe, like, when I first started watching, that they were gonna make sure Ivory team won. Now we don't know who won, but I know who not winning is Barbie team, Naj team, and I ain't gonna lie to you, don't look like Holly team did anything. It don't look like they won no challenges. And even with Holly, like, just seeing her, she seems like she's very out of it, as far as like she's not engaging. It just looked like she ready to go. I think she caught on very quickly that they picked and choose, and they had their faves of who they want to win. So I think early on she kind of already like took her head out of the game and understood what it was. um, but I definitely understand that, and I definitely understand why Barbie says that. I mean, Billy said that, and then Barbie came back and was like, "I ain't coming here for no 2,500." I'm like, Barbie, that's all they gave you. As many shows as Barbie and did, they just gave her 2,500. They must have gave all them that. That must have been the base. Like, everybody get 2,500 because y'all getting, y'all could get 100,000. So I guess that was the base for everybody, and everybody agreed to it because $100,000 on the line. I just want to know what team, because on Deja Apartments, put it on the line. You have not been putting on the line these scores, okay? You haven't been telling us who was, winning, who not winning, who losing, XYZ or ABCD. You haven't been telling us nothing. You just, oh, directions, put it on the line. These are teams that's coming up, put it on the line, And what I need y'all to do is put the scoreboard up. I need to know who's winning. Cause how we supposed to know who winning? As the audience, we want to know who's winning, how many points everybody have. I haven't been able to keep up with anything. When they did that first one, when Deja was saying, "Oh, you got 2 points. This team got three," I'm like, Deja, you're not making a lick of sense. Which our point system, it's not making not a lick of sense at all, baby. I need you to reevaluate what y'all got going on with these points and come back and talk to us. So honestly, that's like that was my only thing. I'm like, we need to know what's the like where everybody points are. Boring. Okay, so we get past all of that. Okay, let me tell y'all what Fly Nine went wrong. For me. Fly Nine is still not reading the room. Ivory and Parker. Now all of a sudden they kumbaya. So Billy like, y'all cheated. Ivory's like, don't go back and forth with them, because I mean we took the W. And it seems like Billy and all them people on that van, they had won the first challenge. And that's when I told y'all Billy was like Sway and one of the producers or, whatever. I don't know what he is. It was designed for them to win, like because the other team came in first, it was like, well, let's give Ivory and them another chance. And mind you, they might have more of their favorites on there with Ivory, Fly Nine, Liddy, Mac, Landon, Holly, more of the well known now that's TV people. So to me, like I said, Fly Nine wasn't reading the room. Fly Nine all by Ivory. She taking pictures by Ivory, everything. She get off the bus popping it. And I don't even feel like Billy was coming at her like that. She was just like, y'all be crying. Y'all don't know how to take a L. So she said Billy was crying. Billy was like, who was crying? And she was like, you. I said what I said. I said what I said. Shut up or whatever. Like, you popping in. Now, I remember making a video about Billy confronted Fly Nine, and Fly Nine did not have that energy, and she felt like Barbie was being messy. All that's alleged. She felt like Barbie was being messy, because Barbie went back and told Billy something that Fly Nine had said. But in this show too, Fly Nine was popping it at Billy, and to me, it's just not that serious. I haven't seen Fly Nine do a challenge yet. Like, no shade. I haven't seen you do a challenge yet for you to be popping it like you popping it. And like I said before, I do think like Chinks or Gucci's team is in the lead. But I haven't seen Fly Nine do a challenge. And I think, Ivory told y'all don't argue with them. And I think she should have took her advice because she's about to get parked. Let me also say this too. I like Billy. I really do. I think Billy is a beautiful lady. But I need Billy to stop taking on the persona of the gorilla because it is not cute. And I know she's not trying to be cute, but it don't serve her um in the best way. It really don't. From what Rose said, like Billy has this great personality. She's very level headed. She's very this. She's very that. What I need Billy to do is understand that you're already big. We know you're big. We know can't nobody mess with you. But once you get to like overly making yourself big, you look a mess. And like overly being aggressive when you don't have to do that. You could park Fly Nine. Like we know that, she know that. Everybody know that you could park Fly Nine with no problem. I don't feel like she have to poke her chest out for us to know like, okay, she get down. Like we see you. We see the meat around your knuckles. Trust and believe. We see the meat around your wrist. We know if that arm goes back and it comes forward. It's a lot of wind and strength and strong meat coming with it. Like, we know that. I just feel like a lot of times it's a disservice to herself when she be looking or doing some of the things that she do when she wants to get in the field. And I understand, like, you want to get in the field, but at the same time, I ain't saying I need to see something different as far as like your personality. I do think we're seeing a lot of her personality. I am happy that she called out them if they really did cheat for cheating. But I just need her to do better with like how she represent herself when she get mad. That's all I'm gonna say. But that's really all I got for y'all. Like I said before, the episode was very boring. I think I had to tell y'all about Fly Nine too, or if I haven't already. Fly Nine to me just needs to know her place. Ivory's you whatever Ivory had going on, that wasn't your place to get involved in that. When she told you to stop talking, you should just stop talking because now you into it with Billy on this, but on that video was copping please and acting like you really wanted to get that with Barbie, but you was talking about Billy and Billy wanted to get that with you and you was scared. And you had it gave me too. You was ignoring Billy the whole season of Greek life for real. It looked like you was only really friends with Ivory. Ivory and Seb then put her hands on you, and you all in that girl face after that girl put her hands on you. Like, no ma'am. And I do like Fly Nine, but I do need Fly Nine to get from up under Ivory's armpit and get a personality and some friends outside of Ivory. I really do need her to do that for me. ASAP hold the Rocky. And then Monty trying to check what's that girl named Queen D and Sahana. Boring, huh? I'm over it. The storyline is lame and boring to me. Get over it. Do something else. Let's move on. All right, but that's all I got for you guys in this video. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, like the video, and click the bell. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Bye.
Tribna. On soy. Ingao? Ah. No. Ah. Haha. here, Pomeroy. Vimba, Pony'll. Imbo. Oh, 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 oh. Yibs. Ah. Huh.